Alright, we are on the draw with Rug Delver, and this hand's pretty bad. We can cast a 0-1 Goyf on 2. I mean, to be fair, we can expect the opponent to put at least something in the graveyard, but this hand really doesn't do close to enough to be a keep. Wow, look at that, a good hand. The stark difference there, we're going to leave that Visions on top. May as well, could be good. We might not get around to casting it until around turn 3, but that's okay. Turn 1 Goblin Guide for the opponent actually makes me kind of want to go with the Visions instead of the Delver. I'm not sure. I am not sure. I definitely want a beefy Goyf. Yeah, I think it's going to be the Visions to maximize the size of our Tarmogoyf. Plus, if we play Delver, we might be playing into a turn 2 Searing Blaze, which never feels good. Let's get a basic island, play that Visions. Bottom both of these because we don't really want them. I was hoping to find some removal, something like a Bolt, a Tarfire, a Forked Bolt. Would have been nice. Not yet, though. Shrine of Burning Rage. Okay. I believe that card won a GP recently. I think it was a GP that Burn took down. Thought Scour on top of the deck. That's not great. However, Goyf's a 2-3. There are no instants yet. So we're just going to play this Forest and cast Tarmogoyf. Go to the opponent. Let's take a look at Shrine of Burning Rage. 2 mana artifact. At the beginning of their upkeep, or whenever they cast a red spell, they put a shrine counter on it, and then 3 mana and tap. Sacrifice it. It deals damage equal to the number of charge counters on it to target creature or player. I don't know how good this card actually is in Burn. From what I've read on Reddit, people are playing it for its late game applications. Each card in Burn usually does around 3, 4, sometimes 2 damage if you kill a creature right away. But if they get in for 2 with a creature and then it still trades 1 for 1 with you, that's pretty good. They made Goyf bigger, so that's nice. So each card in Burn usually does 3 to 4 damage. And they can run out of cards. That is definitely something that happens. So, something that Burn players are doing nowadays is there a non-zero number of them. I don't know how many. I'm certain it gained a decent chunk of popularity from winning a tournament. Or at least a deck with this card in it won a tournament. I don't know if this was actually even relevant. But basically it gives them better late game by giving them a card or 2 that can hit for 5, hit for 6 while they're casting their burn spells. So it's a little harder for them to run out of gas. I think we're going to play this Delver. And I don't really want to use the Lightning Bolt on Guide just yet. Just because I want to hold up Stubborn Denial as well. Bolting the Goblin Guide means we can get in with Goyf. I don't know if I actually want to do that. We have to fetch Shock to do that. Well, I guess we could just get a basic Mountain, but I don't know how excited I am for that either. I want to be a little more conservative, I think. I do realize that you absolutely need to clock Burn, especially with them having a Shrine of Burning Rage out. Given enough turns, the Burn player will just kill us with this. If we let 8 more turns pass by, this will have 11 counters on it, and then they'll just shoot us for lethal. So we can't do that. That basically puts the principle of clocking Burn to the extreme. I'm pretty sure we fetch Shock to counter this Boros charm. I don't really want to. Boros Charm, then again, is basically their best card. Outside of if they have a Searing Blaze, but that's fine. We're going to get a Steam Vents. I'm not stoked about it. That's for... Oh, no. Oh, no. We can't. We can't. We don't have enough card types. Land, Sorcery, and Instant for them. We're getting a Steam Vents tapped. We're getting a Steam Vents tapped. We can't counter that Boros Charm. Shocking there would have been pretty disastrous. We're in an awful spot. We're probably just dead. We are probably just dead. The opponent has 2 cards and a Shrine on 4. It is highly likely that we will die next turn. Very, very likely. If they have basically anything now, and them fetching certainly suggests that they do, we're going to be in a very bad spot. Second Boros Charm. That's going to do it. The opponent went too fast, and look at that. One card, it's going to do 6 damage to us by their next turn. Savage Knuckleblade's not something we're going to show the opponent. Do we even show them Lightning Bolt? I mean, we're just dead to Shrine. We literally don't have a way to destroy this main deck. I don't know if we should be running Ancient Grudge and Destructive Revelry post board, but we don't have a way to destroy this in the main deck. So I think we just don't show them any more cards. Do we attack? I don't even know. I mean, we're just dead, so we should just give them the opportunity to give us slightly more information. Undo. Let's not attack with that. Now, it's very relevant that, as far as I know, this replaced Eidolon as their main 2-drop, proactive 2-drop. I believe that was because a lot of decks these days have a higher curve, mostly Eldrazi stuff, Delve Fatties, things like that, which make Eidolon significantly worse, so I think that's another reason why burn decks shifted over to Shrine. I'm not sure how we're going to sideboard for this. It's absolutely relevant that our opponent has artifacts, and also relevant that we're expecting fewer Eidolons. Fewer Eidolons means Pyroclasm probably gets a lot worse. The opponent's just waiting because they have this wrapped up. It was nice of them to show us a Rift Bolt. A lot of cards with Bolt at the end of them. No need to show that. We're just going to go to the opponent's end step. I might actually scour them with some burn spells on the stack. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. It tells them that we're playing Thought Scour. But it also tells us at least some of the makeup of their deck. Which I don't hate. I don't hate at all. We might find something good. It's pretty relevant that the opponent had 3 Boros Charms. That's pretty good. Rift Bolt is going to hit the stack, targeting us. Shrine gets another counter. Let's do some Thought Scouring. We may as well. There's not a lot of downside to it. Another Shrine. Lava Spike, land. Okay. So we know they're playing at least 2 Shrine of Burning Rage, which is handy. I was hoping we could pull over something like an Eidolon, a Stomping Ground. Something to give positive proof of what they're on. It looks like just Boros Burn, but we can't say for sure. It is quite likely that it's just Boros Burn, though. I think we're going to board out Knuckleblade. It's a little slow. I want Spell Snare. Spell Snare is very good against Burn. Shoal is also something I'm looking at keeping. We want to get that sweet tempo. I think we're going to keep Mana Leak. I want all the Bolt effects. Traverse is something I could consider cutting at least one of. And then a number of Thought Scour. What do we want against Burn? Huntmasters. Possibly some Artifact Destruction. That's basically it. Okay. So we can board in 2 cards at least. It's going to be Huntmasters. Do I want these? I actually don't know. Now, it's entirely possible we just aim at countering whatever they play. Use counter spells instead of Artifact Hate to deal with the Shrine. I really hate the idea of boarding in Artifact Hate, them only having around 2 Shrine of Burning Rage, and then us having dead cards against Burn. Having dead cards against Burn is pretty bad. I think I'm just going to run this without the artifact hate. Then again, they might be running Ensnaring Bridge. That's something I've touched on before. I don't think it's very common, though. I'm going to run this. If we lose to an artifact, we lose to an artifact. We have 0 lands. We're going to mulligan. It's also relevant that we have 0 threats, although not that bad. We had burn spells and a shoal. So if this hand had, say, One Thought Scour was a land, One Thought Scour was a Goyf, this actually wouldn't be that bad. Wouldn't exactly be great. We'd have to Visions on turn 1, given that we only have the 1 land. That's something I'm looking to keep. What do we have on top? Does it even matter? We have a lot of shuffle effects we're looking to use here. Denial is actually something I kind of want on top. We're pretty far from casting Mandrills, though, so I think we're still just going to traverse on 1. Get more lands for Snapcaster Mage. Maybe we draw a Huntmaster. And it's also going to help us as far as getting this Mandrills down in a reasonable time frame. Let's get a Stomping Ground. We're going to traverse out an island. Hopefully we don't have to do any more shocking for the rest of the game. Our opponent also mulliganed. Let's see what they have. Could be a Lava Spike, could be a Rift Bolt on Suspend. Maybe it's a Goblin Guide. If it's a Goblin Guide, we're probably just going to bolt it. Not before it does 2 damage, though, unfortunately. On the bright side, we don't have to shock to do that. Sacred Foundry tapped. They probably shouldn't have shocked there, or fetched there, but anyways. We have Bolt plus Spell Snare. It's pretty impossible that we need both. I guess we could just fetch out another island if we do need to Spell Snare. If we don't need to Spell Snare, we can fetch a land tapped. I kind of want to get the fetch land in our graveyard to get Mandrills out sooner. So I think we're going to play that instead of the island. Here's a Lava Spike. We can't counter that. The opponent's stuck on 1 land so far, so that's good. Let's get a Breeding Pool. Put it into play tapped. 3 cards in the bin. Ooh! We could go Goyf plus Spell Snare. That's not bad. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. Play Goyf, hold up Spell Snare. Seems good. Better than slamming Mandrills, I think. Mostly because slamming Mandrills makes Goyf a lot worse. Also makes Snapcaster Mage at least somewhat worse. But I don't think we're flashing back that Traverse anytime soon. Here's a Rift Bolt. That's probably the turn. Visions, that's something I'd like to cast. We found another Goyf. I don't think I need both Snapcaster Mages. Do I want the Lightning Bolt? Probably not. We only have the 1 red source. And we already have Bolt Snap Bolt. Risking hand for 1 more land. Painful. I think we're going to attack and play Goyf. It's entirely possible that we want to hold up Spell Snare, but the opponent still doesn't have their 2nd land, and maybe they don't even have a bunch of 2-mana spells. They probably do, but maybe not. I want to get pressure. Rift Bolt's going to happen. Rift Bolt's a sorcery, so it actually could take out one of these Goyfs. On the other hand, that's essentially using Goyf to counter Rift Bolt, and I'm pretty okay with that. Not ecstatic, but pretty okay. Goyf hit the bin. Growing Goyf. The opponent scooped. I guess they just weren't hitting their land drop. Being stuck on 1 land is pretty harsh. Maybe Burn doesn't keep 1-landers as well as we do because we have cantrips. That's probably the case. Let's see. I think I'm still pretty happy with what we have here. I might board out a mana leak for something like an Ancient Grudge, but I really don't think I want to do that. Ancient Grudge seems so loose to me. I can absolutely see... I mean, I'm considering boarding it in, so clearly I see its potential here for being good, but man, do I see its potential for being bad. Is there anything else I'd rather play than one of the mana leaks on the draw? Vapor Snag looks bad, EE looks bad, Blood Moon looks bad. We still haven't seen green out of them. It looks like they're just on Boros. Anger looks bad, Pyroclasm. Maybe they have a non-zero number of Eidolons. I don't think they're going to have enough creatures for that to be good. Rejection counters Shrine and Ensnaring Bridge in probably worse fashion than Ancient Grudge does. Revelry can also hit Eidolon if they're playing that, but that's also more color restrictive. I don't like it. Vapor Snag we already looked at. We actually boarded it out. Nux and Dismember, also cards we boarded out. I'm going to keep what we have. I'm not excited about it, but I'm going to keep it. This hand's a keep. Turn 1, we can deal with a creature. We can cast a Visions. Turn 2, we're probably slamming a Goyf. I don't know how much play this hand has, in that there are only so many ways we can really sequence our spells here, and I don't think there are a lot of percentage points to be gained for sequencing them in any fancy schmance way. I really don't want to shock and hold up Lightning Bolt here. I am pretty excited to cast a Serum Visions. I think we're going to fetch out an island just to minimize how many fetches we have left in our hand after we play the Visions. I do think that's what I want to do. I also want to get a basic. It's entirely possible we want 2 red sources, but I don't really care. We can always use that fetch if we absolutely need more colored mana. Another Visions isn't great. I don't really want the Traverse. Do I want Mana Leak? We're not casting it until turn 3. How good is a turn 3 Mana Leak on the draw? That means we're countering their turn 4 play at best. That seems kind of bad. That seems kind of very bad. We can always Visions Mana Leak. We also have Bolt Mana Leak. It's not the worst. I do want a counter spell at some point. Land and Sorcery in the graveyard for Goyf so far. Neither of us had a turn 1 play to impact the board. Here's a Shrine. Sooner or later, that's going to do some damage. Today's not that day, however. We're going to shock here. Slam Tarmogoyf. And go to them. Next turn, we're looking at Lightning Bolt or Visions plus Leak, which isn't bad. The opponent can hardcast a Rift Bolt if they want to deal with our Goyf. Other than that, I don't think they have many ways. There's always Path. Burn does generally board in at least a couple paths against us. I imagine around 3. I think they only play 3 in the board, so I don't think they ever would have a 4th. But I do believe they board in Path against us. It makes sense to me, and I have seen it against us. Here's a Goblin Guide. That's going to help the Shrine out at least a little bit. I don't know if they attack. They are attacking. So maybe they have a Searing Blaze and they want to deal with our Goyf. How happy am I to let this attack through? If we let the Goblin Guides attack through, we end up bolting it on our turn. I'm pretty okay with that, though. Yeah, I think we're just going to let that happen. I'm pretty happy to make sure our Goyf sticks around. What do we have here? It is Searing Blaze. Fortunately, that's an instant. Goyf will make it out alive. They did get their damage in, though. Let's play the basic island. Bolt this Goblin Guide. Put another card type in the bin, and we're going to swing for 4. They forgot about state-based actions, it seems. Resident in the yard. Goyf checks after spell resolves. Our opponent, it looks like, wasn't aware of the bolting a 2/3 Goyf interaction. Works for me, though. That is, in fact, why we didn't block the Goblin Guide. Otherwise, we'd have 2 more life and 1 fewer Goyf. I think I'd rather have the Goyf in this scenario. I'm also pretty excited to mana leak that Boros charm. Shrine is doing quite a bit of work here. Oh. To be fair, Shrine actually hasn't done anything here, but I think it's doing work. Eventually. It represents a lot of damage. It's definitely less of a tempo play for Burn. 5 mana for even 5 damage isn't great for them. Otherwise, they'd be playing Lava Axe. However, they can just sit this on the battlefield for 2 mana, let it get up a bunch. It's proactive, so we can't counter it at our leisure. We need the counter spell then. It's nice that if they go for Shrine on Goyf here, actually can they? No, that's 3 mana. Second Goyf is even nicer. We're going to swing here. We probably cast Serum Visions. We might be able to take this game. I don't know how likely it is, but we might get this. The opponent's at 10. We're going to Visions. What do we got? Forked Bolt with Denial on top. That makes me pretty happy. I do want to play this Goyf. That way, even if they Shrine one of the Goyfs, we still have one. And I want Goyfs to be attacking. Do I want to Shock and Forked Bolt them? I really don't think so. I think I'd rather play the Steam Vents tapped. Is a bluff relevant here? The opponent will have 3 cards, 5 mana. Well, 4 mana. They'll have 5 mana if they only have 2 potential burn spells. Shrine does at least 6. If it goes face, we can die. It's not super likely, but we can die here. I don't think we're going to go for the bluff play of just playing the Misty. I'd rather play the Steam Vents tapped. I think. Maybe playing Steam Vents tapped isn't relevant either. They didn't ask for a rollback. Oh, what are you going to do? They really should have. Lightning Helix. Okay. That is 3 damage, but it's also 1 fewer card in their hand. They have to fetch. That's good. That means they have less life, although they're going up to 12 off of the Helix. Still good. Denial might not actually be enough. Hopefully it is. Shrine representing at least 7 here, and we're going to 9. I think we might be dead. All they need is a 1 mana burn spell, and we are kaput. They're using the Shrine now. That makes me really think they have a 1 mana burn spell. Given that they didn't even wait to get the other counter on it, they probably have something like a Lightning Bolt in hand. We go to 3. There's the Bolt. And that's going to do it. We did not get there against Burn. A little too slow, it seems. Shrine did 6 damage, which is really good. You'll notice Lightning Bolt was their last card. They would have drawn 1 for turn. So let's put this on Deck Editor because it's at least more interesting than the tables in Xmage. Shrine definitely did work that game. Shrine was 5 mana for 6 damage. Technically could have been 7 if they waited, but it wasn't relevant. 5 mana for 6 damage isn't great as far as tempo goes. Usually Burn goes for 1 to 2 mana for 3 to 4 damage. So it's really bad as far as tempo goes, but it's great on cards. And it's pretty hard to out-tempo Burn consistently. So really, Shrine covers up the weakness that they have that they run out of cards. Burn does a pretty good job of out-tempoing you because they'll just get their damage in with their creatures. If you let 6 or so damage off of creatures in, you're probably in a bad spot because sooner or later the burn spells are going to get you if you get low enough. So they do a good job of beating you on tempo. Where you really have to beat Burn is beating them on cards. Kill their creatures early, block their creatures, make it so they don't have good attacks, they'll run out of burn spells, and then you can clock them while they're top decking, hopefully counter just enough to get by. Shrine of the Burning Rage means you can't really do that, because sooner or later they're going to have enough counters to kill you, which means you either counter the Shrine, or you kill them before they can do it. Unfortunately, we didn't do either that game. We saw one counter spell in Mana Leak. I believe it countered a Boros Charm that game. The third game. The earlier games we had counter spells, but I don't think they did all that much. We Mana Leaked a Boros Charm, which I'm pretty happy about. I don't think I would let that Boros Charm resolve in hindsight. Countering Boros Charm is pretty good. It is their best burn spell. Shrine technically did more damage, but really, I'm not going to let a Boros Charm resolve so I can wait for a Shrine, especially when they can make their next land drop and then pay for Mana Leak. That seems like a losing proposition. I don't know if we should be boarding in Artifact Hate against Burn even after we see the Shrine. I still don't think it's good enough. We have a lot of counter spells that can counter it. 2 Spell Snares, 2 Shoals, 2 Mana Leaks, 3 Denials. Everything can go at it. I don't think it's worth bringing in Artifact Hate. I could be wrong. I don't think it's something you want to do. If our clock was a little faster, we maybe could have taken that game, but we were a decent ways away from killing them, probably 2 turns. So they did have a good amount of time. Maybe we just needed to hit better draws. I don't know. Shrine definitely did something there, though, so it's absolutely worth thinking about. Hopefully you all enjoyed that video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.